Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Allow me to introduce myself. Thank you for shining with me first and foremost every week on Shine with Kendéll Lenice. I am a certified transformational life coach, speaker, author, as well as a certified financial coach. Each week I hope to elevate you, educate you, and entertain you with our various guests and various topics here on Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to tell a friend. And now on to this week's show. Hello, and welcome to Shine with Kendéll Lenice. I am so pleased that you were able to join me this show. I got a great show coming up for you. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the Shine podcast. I like to call it a life podcast where you can be educated, entertained, elevated, and just an all-around better person. I go by the name of Lady Motivator, and that's what I do in all areas. And this podcast is no different. That's just who I am, and that's what you will get on each and every episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. My name is on that, so that means something to me. I think it's important to stand behind your name, stand behind your brand, and bring something positive to any table you are asked to sit on or that you create for yourself. So, I am the little podcast that could. You know what? I'm going to stop saying that. I am the best podcast of the land. I'm a life coach, right? I claim things. I speak things as if they were so. So this is the best podcast out there. So this being the best podcast out there, I would love for you to subscribe, listen, and share. It's important to do all three. That's how I garnish my sponsorship. That's how people start hearing about some of the shows that I have. I am almost up to 90 shows, which is amazing. I can be listened to anywhere podcasts are played, whether it's Apple Podcasts from your Apple products, Google Podcasts from your Android products. You can go to Spreaker, Spotify, YouTube, a whole lot more. Just search for Shine with Kendéll Lenice. That's KendellLenic. And you can catch me from anywhere, whether you're in the car, coming home from work or school, whether you're in the gym, running that treadmill, or on that track outside, because I prefer being outside to exercise, or whether you're at work with your headphones on, listening to something positive, silly, fun, introspective, and all of that. With Shine, I'm going to give you all of that and a little more. But like always, before we get into today's show, I am going to start with our life note. So today's show and tonight I shine my spotlight on relationship goals. So we're going to come right back after this life note. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, today's life note is quite simple. You can be your own relationship goals. That's right. The life note is you can be your own relationship goals. I know with social media, a lot of people are talking about wifey goals, husband goals, relationship goals. Everything is goals. Everything is what everyone else is doing, and the people like what they do. And then they say, okay, those are goals. But as a life coach, I can teach you how to have your own goals. As a human being, you have your own goals. So when people talk about relationship goals and now Black love, Black love, of course, has always been in existence. I am Black. I have loved. I have seen family members' loves and friends and all of that. But I love that Black love is so popular. And we're not talking about the show on OWN, which I'll get into momentarily. I'm talking about just Black love. And, you think about Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis, and you think about some of the long-term couples, these Black couples, whether they're in your family or whether they're on the television screen. It's just so powerful to see. And although we've always had Black love, I think that Barack and Michelle Obama resurfaced it. They brought it back to the forefront. I mean, come on, who better to display Black love than the president and the first lady? Come on now. And I think when they entered the White House, I think people loved to see them standing there and being with their children and all of that. And I think that they probably created some of these relationship goals. Would you agree? I think that they really kind of brought it to the masses and made it cute, cool, and sexy again. Because certain people have a way of doing that, and the image that they've seen and that they've showed, and going high and just being the right fit to broadcast their love. It was just the perfect way that they did it. And Michelle Obama was just at Essence Festival this year, and she was talking about it. So I love that she was talking about their relationship and how it wasn't easy, how, some of the things that we all go through in relationships, that was them. Because I think it's important when people are in relationships to really be real about it, not telling everybody all of your business, but being honest and being real with your relationships. I think it's so important to do that because each one teach one. So when Michelle Obama and Barack Obama hit the scene, it made love cute again. It made people, I want to find my Barack, or I want to find my Michelle, and everybody was on the hunt, trying to find that love of theirs. Everybody wanted to see that, and I thought that that was awesome. So, of course, a lot of people look at them as relationship goals. But the show Black Love, I've loved it from the beginning. There actually were 3 shows called Black Love, and ironically, I watched them all. There was a relationship show called Black Love. And Jack Daniels, yes, that's his name. He's a life coach, and I remember he was one of the life coaches on the show. And then there was another lady, and there were Black women in New York looking for love. And I like that show because they had the women working on them and doing homework and self-reflection and all the things that us life coaches do to prepare someone for whatever arena they're about to enter into. I think it's important to really get your inner man together before you bring in another man or a woman into your life. So that was the first Black Love. And then the other Black Love was a 6 or 7 minute show on, I believe, BET.com. You can still find those on YouTube. And they had famous and semi-famous couples on there talking about their love story. And it was just little quick shows, 6-7 minutes. And that was the second one. And then Cody and her husband, they did Black Love on OWN, which blew all the way up. It's in its 3rd season now, and I've been a supporter from the beginning. And that's just going to regular couples and famous couples that we recognize with long-term marriages. I mean, they start from marriages as long as 1 year up to 30, 40, 50 I've seen. So I love the whole gamut. Like, you can learn at any stage in a relationship because you are whole people. Hopefully, that's what I promote, but whole people before you guys get together in a relationship. So now you have something to bring to the table. That person has something to bring to the table. And I'm not just talking about money or tangible things. I'm talking about expertise and knowledge and points of views and experiences and all of that. But no matter who you are and who that person is, you're not the same person. So there are going to be challenges. And I love how Black Love breaks it down to children. Okay, did you have some things going on with children? Or what was the lowest point in your relationship or marriage? Or how did you meet? Or they go through the different gamuts of relationship, because relationships are not one dimensional. So I love that show. And I'm recently remarried. September 24th, 2019 will be my 1-year anniversary. This is not my first time on the rodeo, on the horse. So I encourage that also. If that's something that you want to do, or if that's something that God brings to you, then entertain it. Don't let your past or what people say, oh, you've been married 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times. You can't get married again, or you shouldn't. You do what you want to do. Grown people, and this is how I coach. This is how I go speaking. Grown people, do what you want to do. If you want to be married 6 times, just learn something within those 6 times. Don't bring the same crap and baggage to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. Learn something along the way. Take the time to really learn your lessons and learn who you are. But I don't think there's anything wrong with multiple marriages. Of course, no one sets out to be married multiple times, but some things, hey, people pass away. People, have infidelity and abuse and whatever your marker is to leave a relationship, because everyone's breaking point is not the same. So it's whatever you devise for yourself in that relationship. But no matter what happens, and if it just doesn't work out, you're not a failure if you've learned, and that's what you really have to take the time for yourself to really learn. But if you want to get married again, go for it. And if, like I said, if God brings that to you, and we talk about on the podcast early on, my podcast, I think about a year ago now, we have our love story on there in 3 parts. So you can go back and check out Allowing God to Choose Your Mate. My husband Daryl and I did 3 parts of how we met in our love story, and it's funny. You got to go back and check it out. And it's right. I don't know what episodes they are, but just look for Allowing God to Choose Your Mate. About a year ago, you'll see it. But I think it's important if love still exists, and people always say with me, and a friend told me, she was like, you're never jaded by love. If something didn't work out, you're never afraid, or you just go out there. And I think it's important to really live your life like that and how you want, because a closed mouth doesn't get fed, or closed hands don't receive. So you have to be open to a lot of different things if that's something that you would like for yourself. But relationship goals, as I said in the life note, you can be your own relationship goals. So Black Love, when you look at shows like Black Love, and you look at other shows, or you look at people that are in love, and a lot of people look at it and say, oh, I want relationship goals like that. I want to be like that. But you don't have to be like anyone. You can have the same traits as someone else, but you don't have to be like anyone else's relationship. You can decide what type of relationship you want of your own. It doesn't have to mimic anyone else's. What works for some may not work for all. So I want you to really keep that in mind. I think it's important to do that. I believe that married folks are all in this thing together, and I'll talk about that as I share a great event we went to, my husband and I, last week. It was a couples cookout. So I'm going to just take a quick break, and I will be right back. Thank you for shining with me, Kendéll Lenice. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show, and don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine. We'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. Okay, so I was talking about this couples cookout I went to. So I think it's important, and I actually came across a quote, and I want to read it. It says, "They say it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to become a better spouse." Boom. I agree. There's nothing about that. Where are the lies? Where are the lies, Craig? There's no lies in that statement. So with that being said, last week, my husband and I invited by a couple who has been married 21 years. And as I told you, my husband and I haven't even been married 1 year yet. Actually, we weren't the youngest married couple, though. And I don't mean young in age. I mean in marriage. There was a couple that had been married 5 months, all the way up to 47 years, one of them. And I think another couple, I didn't get to ask them, but they were much older. I think they were even married longer than that, pushing, it had to be 50-something years, 50-plus years, maybe almost even 60. And then you had people in between, 7 years, 9 years, 13 years. There were a lot of people, believe it or not, that were married 21 years, which I thought was odd that, 21 years, it was like 3 or 4 couples. So there were a lot of different couples. And I think it's important to, if you are a couple, even if you're an engaged couple, or if you're a couple looking to be engaged and then looking to be married, I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are doing it, people who are showing you what it looks like. And I don't mean showing you what it looks like perfectly. I mean the real and the raw. But let me just say, during this couples cookout, and I'll talk about the couples cookout, but my husband and I have been married for 1 year, and guess what we did, y'all? We went and won the after-wed game. Boom. Y'all have heard of the newlywed game, I'm sure, the old school newlywed game. But this was called after-wed, of course, because everyone, wasn't a newlywed. But we won the thing, and not just won a little bit. We won. Like, we were in the first place spot by a long shot. Like, our score was 160, and I think the next score was like 110 or something like that. And it's just interesting that we were just, we talked about it all on the way home. Like, we won that thing. Like, that's crazy. Couples that have been married so much longer, we won. And I just was like, wow, I guess we do, know some things. And he's looking at me. He's like, see, and you say sometimes I don't listen, or you don't think I know this, or, because when he first sat down, he was like, oh boy, I don't know if I know these answers. But the funny thing, y'all, is our answers were almost identical. So if you know how the game is played, they sit all the wives down. It was about 15 of us. It was 20 couples all together at this couples cookout, which I'll talk about. But it was like 15 people that might have played. And this is, and prior to even playing that game, we had won another game where we were in the finals. But then they sat the women down at first, and then we had to answer the questions as if our husband, how they would answer or what the answer would be. And then they had to be sequestered, and then they came back behind us, and then we had to put the little sign up to see if we answered the same. We answered almost the same verbiage and the same word answers. It was a trip. And we're like, wow, and you said yet at the end, and you said this at the end, and even with my shoe size, he, just everything. It was a pleasant surprise. Because we was just fussing on the way up there. Nothing big, just, how couples just, and, it's so funny. And then we got there and won the whole thing. He was like, see, you thought I don't listen. Because, women, we want to be heard like, hello, did you hear us? Can you confirm that you heard us? I'm one of those. Can you just let me know that you heard, acknowledge? And my husband is a processor, where he'll be sitting there processing and thinking about what you're saying. But he's so in tune with what you said and listening, that he doesn't respond necessarily like he did listen. You get what I'm saying? But I just want to hear the words. Confirm, acknowledge, did you hear? Okay, I'm good. And he's like processing already when I say it. So we were going up there kind of talking about that. And then we went to that whole thing, and I was like, I guess he is listening. Okay. So we went to, and shout out to Basine. She, that's my Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown brought us together, me and Basine. And she was on the show talking about Bobby Brown, because she's a Bobby Brown supporter like I am. So one of the shows I did was about Bobby Brown on his 50th birthday. So you can go back and check that show out as well. But met her a few years ago at the Bobby Brown book signing, which I ended up hosting at Howard University at Barnes & Noble. That's a whole nother story. But met her there, and we became friends. I'm attracted to energy and vibe and spirits and how people are, and just a natural thing. When you feel like you've known somebody for forever, you know that God did that. But she and her husband Joe, they invited us graciously to Kindle the Flame Couples Cookout 2019. That's what it's called. And the tagline is "Keep the Flame Burning." So there was horseshoe, volleyball, tug of war, marriage games, board games, because we played Scrabble and all of that. A whole lot more. Name that song, had a couple gospel songs in there, old school songs in there. I mean, it was just really, really nice. It was catered. It was decked out, hooked up. It wasn't no little thrown together thing. It was in a pastor couple's yard, and it was beautiful. They really put time and effort into that, and they really hooked it up. So it was a great event. And when you go to events like that, you want more of it. You want to connect more. You're talking to couples, and because I think it's important to really surround yourself with the same energies and positivity and, advice, because just because someone's 5 months married, that doesn't mean that they can't give advice to someone who's been married 5 years. And I think it's important that we learn from everybody. So, of course, the tables were turning in our brains, and we want to have a lot of couples events, which we had planned to do. This was almost like confirmation. We were already planning to do workshops like this, because I do a lot of workshops. So we're going to do some things for couples very, very, very soon. It won't be the couples cookout yet, but it will be a lot of different events for couples, because I think it's important. And like I said, if you're going together and marriage is on the menu, I think it's important to surround yourself. People who go together. Do they still say go together? Because, I'm old school. I say go together. Go together. And then people who are engaged, and then people who are married. I think it's important for all of us to kind of connect with one another to see, hey, am I right? Am I wrong? And it's not about telling someone your business. It's just about being able to understand another person or to see another perspective. I think that it's always healthy to check in. So, I was reading an article, and they talked about 10 relationship goals that will make your love stronger. So, I'm going to read a couple of them. Human beings are wired to want intimate relationships, right? You want to be loved and to be loved. You want to love and to be loved. Well, the first step to that, I believe, is acknowledging that you want love, but a lot of people want love, but they're not really open to receive love, and that's the problem. Other goals are really to try to understand your mate, understand one another, what they're saying, their view, and I will add in respect. You want to be able to respect your mate. And it's important to make your relationship a priority. Hey, if you decided to go into the darn thing, you want to make it a priority, right? You want to prioritize your relationship. Hopefully it's a priority to you if that's something that you want. And a lot of as a life coach, when I do couples coaching, the three things that the biggest challenges are money, communication, and lack of sex, lack of intimacy, lack of passion. And a lot of relationships lose that because people have busy lives, the hustle and bustle of life. People have kids, people are in school, people have multiple streams of incomes and jobs and interest and all of that, and they forget to connect. So you want to stay intimate with that partner, that relationship. And then you want to find time for fun. Duh. You want to have fun. If I can't laugh with you, I can't be with you. That's just how I feel. If I can't laugh with you or have fun with you or act goofy and silly, because I am a professional and I do professional things and I'm an author and I'm a writer and I'm a speaker and I'm a life coach, but I am also a silly woman. I like to have a good time and laugh and have pure fun. Like, my goal every day is to laugh out loud like a crazy person. And yes, I do that. Also, when people talk about relationship goals, they want to grow together. Who doesn't want to grow with that partner? And it could be grow together in age or grow together in wisdom or grow together in business. You want to kind of be aligned. And it doesn't mean like throughout your whole relationship you will be unaligned, but you want to be aligned with your mate. I would think you do, right? Because you want a meaningful relationship. You want to bond. You want to grow. You want to learn. You got to be able to learn something from your mate. And a lot of people talk about relationships and trying to make them work and what do they need. And as a life coach, a lot of people talk to me about that. I am a seasoned woman. I have been around for a while. I have learned. I have loved. I have been married, been in relationships, been engaged, also a qualified and certified coach. So I'm going to talk about more of some of the important things in relationships when I come right back. Be right back. Are you stuck in a dead-end job or relationship? Do you lack motivation? Are you unhappy with the way your life is turning out? Do you have a difficult time achieving goals and reaching your dreams? Are you ready to get back to what's important? Do you want to just spice up your life? Are you at a crossroads in life and you don't know which way to turn? All of these things I can help you with. My name is Kendéll Lenice and I'm a certified transformational life coach. For more information about my life coaching services, please visit livingtruelivingyou.com. Now back to the show. I am back. I just had to take a quick pause to promote my services. Again, you can always go to livingtruelivingyou.com or ladymotivator.com for more information about moi. All right. So 10 things that people hold important in a relationship. Now, everybody might have some different things, right? But I'm going to give the basics. Because when we're talking about relationship goals, as this show is called today, there are a lot of basic needs that people want. There are a lot of things that people want, right? And you want trust. That's a huge factor. To me, you can't be with someone, or I can't say you can't be. It's difficult to be with someone if you don't truly trust them. And trust grows over time. Sometimes trust can be broken. But I do believe it could be regained with the proper structure, the proper point of view, whether it's coaching, therapy, something, or just working together to try to really make it work. A lack of trust early on means, you got to get to work. Something is wrong. You got to figure out where the breakdown is. And trust goes along with honesty. I'm a big person. I'm very honest. Sometimes I'm brutally honest. Sometimes I'm just honest. I believe in honesty because you can't help or heal or grow without honesty. I'm real honest. Like sometimes my husband be like, whoa, babe. I'll be like so honest because I think you do someone a disservice when you're not completely honest. So you want to be truthful when it comes to relationships. You want to be open, with some things because you don't want to build something on false hope. If you're not feeling the person, or if you're not really loving the person, or if there's something that gets on your nerves, or if there's something that, whatever it is, you can't heal it until you're honest about it. And then also that leads to great communication. And of course, great communication strengthens a relationship. So if you can't talk to your mate and you can't communicate, now communicating, let's just be clear, it's not just talking. It's about listening and understanding. And that's where people's breakdowns are with communication. Because a lot of people don't know how to communicate because of they just don't know how to understand, or just don't know how to really get a grasp on what the other person is saying. Because why? People don't listen. People just wait for their turn to talk. People really don't listen. So it's really, if you want to communicate, you got to really listen. An effective way to do that, and coaching like I do, is really just, have the person repeat it back, because that's what effective communication is. If you can repeat it back, because some people hear something different than what comes out of their mouth. Respect, RESPECT, yep. Got to have some respect. Love is just not a justification for disrespect or, abuse. You do have to respect one another's feelings, one another's backgrounds, one another's point of view. And sometimes you will have to agree to disagree. Loyalty, that goes up there with trust to me, and honesty. But you got to be happy too. Some people are in relationships. I got a new book coming out. It should be out beginning of 2020, and I talk about settlement. Settlement is for houses, not relationships. And at the bare minimum, I talk about in my book, you got to be happy. But first, you got to be happy with yourself. Now, are you going to be happy all the time in a relationship? Probably not, because you're different people, coming from different angles and points of views. But you got to have the happiness within yourself. I don't believe that anybody out there, I don't care how fine, dope, amazing, spectacular he or she is, if you don't have happiness within yourself, you're not going to have it with someone else, point blank and period. But that leads to compromise. You got to be able to compromise with the person. You got to be able to be reasonable and rational and figure out what you're going to do, because you want to have a healthy relationship. And a lot of women and men, a lot of people think women just want safety and security and all of that. Men want that too. It's important to make sure you have some type of security and safety in a relationship. And I'm not talking about a place to live or some money in the bank. I'm talking about that connection that's safe to be honest. Like I talked about, safe to, to be loyal, and the safe to be, to have trust. There's safety in that. And I think it's important for people to still be their own people in a relationship. And a lot of people don't know how to be their own selves in a relationship. They just don't. They morph into whoever they're with. Have you ever met people like that? It's like, oh, you like that because he likes that? Oh, you didn't like that before because she likes that now? People want relationships so badly and want them to work so badly, they forget to be them and they lose themselves. And that is not a relationship goal, to lose yourself in someone else. That's not a relationship goal. I'm sorry. If that's your goal and your hashtag in relationship goals, then you need to think about that. Because relationship goals should be what you set, and you should always be a whole person. I'm a whole person. Are you? Imagine you go up to someone that when they try to holler at you, hey, how you doing? I'm a whole person. Are you? They'd be like, oh, skirt, what? They'd be like, okay, this person is evolved, because it's easy to pick the low hanging fruit. But when you got to reach high in that tree to grab that orange or to grab, that fruit off that top branch, then that means you're ready to work for this relationship, and you know that this person is quality. I'm not the dented fruit that fell on the ground. Hello. And neither are you, men and women. So you have to own that power and know that you are not dented fruit. You are not the fruit hanging on the ground. You got to pick me, and that's how you really have to see it. And that's not arrogance. That's confidence in who you are and whose you are. And you better know it. You better act like it. It's important to do that. But a lot of people aspire with relationship goals. I'm a huge Instagram fan. That's at k.lenice. I had to put the dot in there a couple years ago because people were calling me Clanice. But my Instagram is at k.lenice. I'm big on Instagram. I'm always putting posts and stories, and I'm also on Facebook, Kendéll Lenice, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm on everything. Just Google Kendéll Lenice or search for me on your social media platforms. But if you go on any of them, you'll see hashtag relationship goals. And I remember one time, I don't follow her too tough, but Christy Teigen, John Legend's wife, I think he was helping her take off her coat, or just being kind to her, doing something kind that was basic kind. People were like, relationship goals. She was like, that's kind of sad. If just him helping me out, you like a relationship goals. Like, what kind of relationships have you been in? And I laugh because it's so true. The smallest things. But what I have come to know is so many people are in toxic relationships that something simple is relationship goals for them. I remember I had a friend, and she was, I think, in her 30s at that time. She might have been even in her 40s at that time. And I remember she was like, girl, I met this guy. He was so nice. He took me to a museum. He washed my car. And I was like, and don't you dare give him none either. And she was like, what? She was so infatuated with that. And that's what women do sometimes. They get so infatuated with someone, they're giving up the goods right then because they did something basic. You got to know your worth if you think somebody washing your car is worth your body. Now, don't get me wrong. Say thank you. It's a nice gesture. It's great. But you got to think about, like, that's the least that they can do. And it's not that you're not appreciative, but this, people have to show you more signs than that. But don't be so quick to want a relationship so bad and you think that this person loves you because they did a nice gesture. Some people are just nice like that. You really want to, investigate just a little more. That's my 2 cents to that. But a lot of goals people aspire to have, in addition to the ones I listed, is just to be in a relationship, like I was talking about earlier, and not really get trapped. Just to have lives outside of the relationship. So when you come together, you'll have stuff to talk about. You want to have stuff to talk about, and you also want to be able to have fun together and push one another towards their greatness together, towards your greatness. And I'm like this. I need mind stimulation. Sex is great. Sex is nice. Sex is necessary in a marriage, in a relationship. But I need my mind, right? And a lot of people are like that. Depending on who you are, you want to be stimulated intellectually. You want to be able to have a variety of different types of conversations, not just one conversation about one thing. You want to talk about books, museums. You want to talk about plays and couples retreats, and you want to talk about maybe politics a little bit. I don't know. I try to stay away from the politics these days, but good grief. You want to talk about current events. You want to talk about pop culture, social media. You want to have a variety of things, right? You want to keep the spice going. You don't just want to talk about boring things that, you're beyond, and that's really not stimulating you. And you want to, most of all in a relationship goals, you should be on the same team. you shouldn't be on different teams. You can have different perspectives on the same team. Like you can be on a softball team, right? Or a baseball team, and you might have a different view on how you should run to first base or how you should get on home to the home plate or what technique the pitcher should be throwing, right? But you're on the same team. Like, no, I think it would be a better way. You might have a coach and a co-coach, co-captain, a captain and a co-captain with two different strategies and techniques to get their players to the home plate. But you're still on the same team and you're still working for the same common goal, but you're still individuals with your own opinions. That's really what a relationship is like. A marriage is like, is really, having both parties' input. That's really where it should be. And always, even when you're mad, even when it's hard, you want to always try to be kind, to be nice, to be gracious, to be thoughtful, to be considerate, and some people might be like, that ain't relationship goals to me, that's too much. But you're gonna have to do it, because if this is the person that chose you, or you chose them, or God chose you, then you're gonna have to do the work. Like my girl Yana says, do the work, call a thing a thing. That's her thing. But yeah, so you want to, talk about that. So when we talk about relationship goals and better relationships and what you want, and you're looking at social media and you're feeling upset or down because you're not in a relationship, or not in the relationship you want, or you're in a toxic relationship, or you're in an unhealthy relationship, or you're in a relationship that just has years on it and not any substance, but just years to say, I never wanted to be ever in the position to say, well, I've been married 20 years or 30 years or 10 years, just to say, just to brag, just to have it on Facebook or social media, just bragging. I wanted a solid, healthy relationship where I can be like, I'm together 2 months and it's amazing. Or, I don't want to just be those years. And I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies, but my favorite movie quotes from Love Jones, from Nia Long, Khalil Kain. The scene where she gets back with him and she's in his apartment and he's talking about the toasted oat cereal and all of that. And he's like, we've been together X amount of years. And then she says, all we had was all these years. And no matter how many times I see that movie, that's just something that sticks out to me. Like, people count up the years and I know people that have been married 20 years, been together 30 years, so long, and they can't stand each other. They cheat on each other. They really don't like each other. They don't like spending time. They don't invest any time. They're just living in the same house, but they love to shout, I've been married X amount of years. So you want to make your relationship count. You want to make your marriage count. So in order to do that, you gotta do the work, and you can be your own relationship goals. Hashtag relationship goals. Allow those goals to be your own. All right, that's it for this episode of Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Again, for more information about me, visit livingtruelivingyou.com or ladymotivator.com. Don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine, my podcast. Hopefully you'll learn and grow, and I would love to see you following me on social media as well. But don't forget to subscribe and tell a friend about Shine. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Until next time, God bless. Peace.
Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together. Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
The one lost my heart. I knew it from the start. When I'm lost, you're my tour guide. The only thing that's right.